Hello everyone, Psych Gaming here. This is a quick guide video for the first phase of the new tank challenge, which is Inquisitor Varys. Generally, it is a very hard fight. It's very tough to DPS, and as you cannot stay inside his purple AoE. I'll come into that more later. Let's start out with Velen. He will cast Smite occasionally on your targets. It will not really do any substantial amount of damage. It doesn't really matter if he does it or not. The good thing is he will drop these holy orbs, as you see on the ground right now. When you walk into them, you will gain full health, as you see, and it will disorient every mob in there, including the Inquisitor. When this happens, if you have magic damage on any target, this magic dot will be dropped off, so you need to reapply it. And for the boss abilities, he have the passive ability, which is the purple thing around him. Every second you stay in here, you will get in a stacking debuff, which reduces your maximum HP by a certain amount. It is possible to get around 3 to 5 stacks, at least from my eye level, and still be able to survive. However, you need to be careful and you need to test this out for your own eye level. I do not know the numbers for you or what you can handle. The second ability he does is main cast ability, like a Shadow Bolt. It is just pure magic damage. You just have to try and mitigate this as much as you can. It does do hell of a lot of damage, and it will most likely be the one that's dealt most damage to you when the encounter is over. The last ability, and the most important one, is Life Drain. When he casts this, you need to interrupt it straight away. As I already said, it's a very hard encounter to DPS, so you do definitely not want to heal him. He will cast Life Drain on either you or on Velen. And if Velen dies, the encounter fails. As you see right now, I drag the Arcane Elementals away, so I don't have any mishaps on Velen. For the ads, you have 3 different kind of ads. You have Eyes, you have Arcane Elementals, and Infernals. The Eyes will be your #1 priority, and they only do one thing. They will do a beam on you, and when the beam cast ends, as you see right now, the beam, when it ends, and if you do not face the eye, you will be knocked back. It's important to note that at least for druids, the eyes can only take magic damage. They're completely immune to every sort of melee damage, also bleed effects. But you need to nuke them down as fast as possible. As you see, every time I see it, I try to target it and just AoE the rest down, but spam Moonfire onto target. The next ad will be the Infernal. The Infernal have 2 different phases, more or less. Let's say 3 different phases actually. When it starts off, it will be a massive Infernal, as you see right now. Every second or so, he will do pulsating AoE. As you see, the green stuff that happens. This just do fell magic damage to you, and it can hurt quite a lot when it starts to be, when there's a lot of Infernals out. Every time this Infernal does this pulsing AoE, he also takes damage himself. When he reaches a certain amount of HP, he will become a lower Infernal, or lesser Infernal, sorry. And in this phase, he will not do the pulsating AoE anymore. He will only melee attack you and cast a Smash, which the big one casts as well. This is a frontal shockwave attack. If you get hit by it, it will knock you back. So be careful of that. It's just a simple dodge mechanic. The last ad is the Arcane Elemental, which you will see in just a second. The Arcane Elemental always comes in packs of 4, and they have 2 different abilities: Side Talons, and I think it's called Tether Bomb, Tether Pulsar, something like that. Void Talents is stacking debuff they do to you every time they do melee damage on you. It increases all the arcane damage you take by a certain amount, and it does stack, and it will hurt eventually at least. The other ability is what they cast now. Make sure to interrupt that when the initial cast is over and the actual pulsating start or the channeling started on that. Helen's orb can also disorient and interrupt them. I generally use my own disorient for them. I always have it ready for it. And if I don't, I use Velen's orb. But yeah, it's a very hard counter, as I said. I can give you a few tips here. Druids, for example, you have, if you have your legendary chest and your legendary bracer, you can actually outrange the purple AoE passive thing on the ground with thrash and swipe if you're using balance affinity, and it does help quite a lot that you can actually do some damage to the boss without going in to get the stack and debuff. Another great tip, or that's not a tip, that's something you really need to learn if you want to complete this challenge, is rotate your cooldowns properly. This counts for both your defensive cooldowns and your offensive cooldowns. If you do not do this, this will be a very hard encounter. As a general rule, I always use my offensive cooldown, which is Rage of the Sleeper, on the Arcane Elementals, because they do hurt a lot and I want them nuked down ASAP while I nuke down the eye with Moonfire. I generally only use my defensive cooldowns if I can see myself taking a lot of damage, which I have no other means of saving myself from. Besides that, there's a few different spots on the platform where you can actually be knocked back without falling off. There's a stone to my right side right now, which you can stand up against, and to the left of me now there's a giant sword that will do the same thing. In a second you will see me come into Cruel's face. There are some magic beams floating around the area constantly. Generally it's a kite phase. You need to kite Cruel constantly. He also casts a few abilities. I can't go much into it because once again I haven't encountered it a lot. I keep dying constantly, as you will see here. It does take a long time to learn the fights and it is quite hard and challenging, but I like it. If you have any comments, feel free to post them down. Otherwise I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you again later. Bye.